What it mean to be the best? Riding foes, feeling unimpressed. Make me reminisce, throwing bows, bend the corner, set my mind up on the goal. All I know is stay down, bad, I'm the goal. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now ain't no debate. Yeah. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now ain't no debate. Yeah. I ain't gotta say much. Know the boy got a touch. Another win for the rush. Another win for the rush. See me once and got a crush. See you twice and that's enough. Get the ring sized up.
Hello. Welcome in to Tell the Truth, everybody. The Chiefs saved their season with a overtime win over the Indianapolis Colts, 23-20. And in a game in which they had to come back from 20-9, the Chiefs defense shuts down the Colts for 4 straight 3-and-outs. To allow that comeback to happen, in which the offense wakes up and is able to get things done after what was obviously a shaky start, beginning with an immediate interception on the second offensive snap of the game, of course. I'm here with DG and CJ, two guys that were actually in the stadium for this Week 12 matchup. CJ was there.
Shout out Chuck and Country.
Yeah, Chuck was there.
Chuck Country there. Country got a great picture, of course, with the kids and Patrick Mahomes after the game. CJ, and I'm going to ask DG this. How did you feel and how did the stadium feel after that interception happened?
I laughed because we all said this was going to be a one-possession game. So, I mean, we kind of know how this goes. We always let the other team score first in big games. Why, I don't know. So I had a feeling the Colts were going to score first. The fact that Pat threw a pick on the opposite goal line was hilarious. I wasn't mad. I just laughed. I'm like, okay, guess we're going to have to come back like we always do. So, I mean, everybody in the stands was like, RPO again, huh? I was like, it was kind of funny hearing a lot of people in the stands say that. So it means people actually paying attention to the X's and O's part, which I actually thoroughly enjoy. But overall, I mean, like nobody was upset. It's just like, well, it's going to be one of those games again. So, I mean, we've all seen crazy comebacks from the Chiefs. I was in the building for the 24-0 game down to the Texans. That was not fun at all, not one bit. That game was way more frustrating, pissed off. Like you said, people leaving the stands and being angry. That was way more upset. Now that you've been that we're 6 years removed from that. There's been so many big moments with this team, whether they're down 7-14, 3 possessions, 4 possessions, it doesn't matter. They never really waver. But it was annoying to see, like, out of all the plays you threw a pick on, you did it on the one play we didn't want to see you run. So it was laughable at that point. And then after that, I think they kind of committed to the obvious at getting under center and running the football, which we had a season high this year. So they somewhat listened to us.
How did it feel in the stadium after Kareem Hunt fumbled?
That was very unfortunate. I think the point in the time the fans were the most upset was probably when they called that flag on Juwan for the phantom face mask. The fumble was it was definitely like frustrating because we were moving the ball so well that drive, and then and everybody thought he was down. I thought he was too. I thought his head had hit the ground before he let the ball go, but it clearly didn't. Nobody, I guess, like, and I kind of sit in the family section, so I was like right in front of that end zone when he fumbled. Nobody really was pissed. They were just laughing, like, why do we make it so hard on ourselves when we're clearly about to take the momentum back? All the energy shift is going to be on our side for once in the game and finally get a lead, and then we do that. And then you could tell nobody really was pissed because as soon as that play happened, Chris ran on the field, hyped up the crowd, and I paid attention to Kareem after he fumbled, and Kelsey was the first one to embrace him and say, hey, we're going to need you. Like, this isn't over. It's one play. We know it sucks. It is what it is, but we're going to get back. We're going to get you the ball going. And you know Andy's always going to get the ball right back to you after a mistake. So everybody kind of has that mentality. They weren't really, like, pissed off. They just knew, like, hey, it's never going to be an easy matchup. We wanted to blow these boys out. That would have been lovely, but we knew that wasn't going to be the case when you throw an interception on the second possession of the game, like you said, DMac. So fans weren't really that mad. They just knew, hey, it's going to take another big play from us. And like you said, the defense got not 1, not 2, 4 straight defensive stops via 3-and-outs or punts. So you can't ask for nothing better. So,
DG, how did you feel after that Kareem Hunt fumble specifically?
Devastation. Yeah, I definitely. I guess watching it at home was a little bit different vibe. But yeah, I wasn't necessarily upset with Kareem. I just because it's like he hasn't done that, I think, since his first fumble here. It was his rookie year with us or whatever. So it was more of devastation than shock. It's just like, dang, he really fumbled while we were about to score. Like, and then at that point, I will say this: like, I was definitely thinking at that point this game might be done. Like, if anything, if the Colts go down and kick a field goal and it's 23-9, I didn't see how we were going to mount a comeback, being down essentially 14 now, being down 2 scores at this point. So, but I will say, I'm sitting there watching the broadcast, and they come back from commercial or whatever, and I see Chris Jones, and he's hyping up the crowd and going this way, and I'm like, why is he hype? Like
he was turned.
Lose, we could like this might be over, whatever. And then I seen the clip of Kelsey and Kareem obviously embracing each other, and Kelsey just kind of Then I thought to myself, like, we done this before.
It's only 11 points.
We've been here before. We've been in these moments before. Like, so I went back to those days of knowing that, like, this team is still champions, and they still know what it takes to win those types of games or whatever. After all the mistakes, after all the the blunders or whatever, like, they still know how to dig deep with inside of them and find something to help them, get over the hump. And so at that point, all the thing I was begging for is just a 3 and out. If they get a 3 and out, this next drive, or whatever, and get the offense back on the field, maybe something can happen, get a field goal, something, at least something to make this a 1-score game at that point. So I kind of was happy that Chris did that, just because it showed that they weren't quitting. So with me as a fan, why should I quit on them? Or whatever. I know that kind of sounds corny at this point of where we're at in this, in this dynasty or whatever.
No, that's valid.
They needed it in the stadium apparently too. So
that was probably the loudest point the stadium was the whole game. I ain't gonna lie, it was crazy. Like, you would think, like DMac said, after that the fans would kind of be like on a downturn. They were more louder than ever. When Chris came on the field, it was hyping everybody up. That's the loudest the stadium was the entire game. This drive meant everything for them.
It just showed what kind of leadership Chris Jones does and how important he is to this franchise. I know we were pretty tough on him before the bye, but ever since after the bye, he's been a different
twin. I know the last 2 weeks.
Different type of animal out there, and I think he's clearly showing you how much this franchise means to him, how much these fans means to him, and how much the city means to him.
Yeah. I do have, just a very brief monologue, and I'm glad that you did mention Chris Jones, because that's what it centers around. I mean, so much talk going into the bye week was about how Chris Jones wasn't earning his money. This defensive line can't get pressure with 4, so obviously it has to be the guy that is making the most money's fault. Everybody's bagging on him after the Trevor Lawrence, play. You can't say enough about what he represents from a leadership perspective, but and we're going to get to it, the level of play that he took it to, specifically in that second half when they needed it the most, after the Kareem Hunt fumble, to allow this defense to continue to walk them down the way that they did and have 4 straight 3 and outs was spectacular. He was a wrecking ball. He created so much disruption in the run and the pass. And he can't get enough flowers from me, in my opinion. And so that's just my monologue, just a tip of the cap to Chris Jones, because he deserves it, and especially deserves it after this entire year of not getting enough help, in my opinion, from the surroundings. He has come out of the bye week and been the best player on this team. And shout out to Chris Jones, man. He's been awesome. With that being said, we're just going to
I'm glad you said that, because there's a matchup he had with Quentin Nelson. I want you to pull that clip. Hall of Fame type play from Chris Jones.
What was it, a run or a pass?
It was a run. I'm about to find it. Was in the
we're going to go through all of JT's early down runs, so hopefully it's going to be in here.
There was a couple times in that game where I was like, why are Steichen and them leaving him one-on-one?
I mean, they trust Quentin Nelson's an all-pro guard, but Chris Jones showed he was the best player on the field that day, and it wasn't even close.
No way.
He kind of whooped him a couple times, bro. I was like, that shit
He,
kinda nasty.
he was the best player when that matchup happened, no doubt
Right.
about it. He's the best player on the field. So with that being
was
said,
definitely
we're going to
a
get into the Tell the Truth tape of the week. And first, we're going to go through really mostly the early down Johnathan Taylor runs just to see how this defense was able to do it outside of the 27-yard scamper on that third down. 3rd and 1 specific situation, he was held to 2.3 yards per carry on his other carries. Excellent day.
Repeat that, please.
Other than 27-yard run that he had, he was held to 2.3 yards per carry. That's an excellent day by the Chiefs.
Visibly frustrated on the side. Every time they panned to him,
they
on the
cut to him. He was upset.
He was frustrated.
Yeah. That is very true. Every time they pan to him, he was definitely upset. So we're gonna go through the early down Johnathan Taylor runs, and then we're gonna see what that set up as far as some of the later down stuff for Spags to go to get after Daniel Jones. But this is kind of to start off the game, and obviously they come out with the right mentality. We're gonna get Johnathan Taylor under center, attack the Chiefs. Chris Wallace kind of got stuck there, got a little bit flat-footed going the wrong way. JT does a good job cutting it back, gets 8 yards after he runs through the tackle of Nick Bolton and Brian Cook. And that's the thing about it. That was the big thing, or there's a lot of aspects of the ways in which the Chiefs did a really good job from this perspective. And I'll let this third down roll that Johnathan Taylor is going to convert on. But the yards after contact was a major way in which Johnathan Taylor has been dominating this year. And the Chiefs did an excellent job outside of that first snap of being able to limit that standpoint. And that was massive, in my opinion, from what you saw from them on Sunday, man.
Yeah. I thought the DBs, Brian Cook, Jalen Watson, even Christian Roll, even there's a play that Shamari Connor makes that I was watching today earlier of him that he made. I was really proud of him for doing his job and not necessarily trying to be a hero or anything like that.
DG's been the most critical of Shamari this year, so if he gives him his flowers, he definitely did something right.
Doing his job, and not trying to be a hero, and basically being patient enough to know that like I just have to stay here and not try to pursue too early, because with a guy like this, like you can't make any mistakes against him. He's too good of a back. He's too good at contact balance. He's too good at making you miss in a hole. You can't miss on him. You need all 11 guys on it. I think this play right here.
But this is, in my opinion, this is a really good play by Chris Jones, man. Chris Jones, they're running inside zone out of shotgun, and Chris Jones just absolutely destroys the backside of this play, forces him to bounce it all the way outside, and Leo and him, Leo, Watson, and Shamari Connor all go chase it down. Of course, obviously, the Colts would score on the very next play, so it wasn't like a massive saving play, but I thought that was a really impressive effort by Chris Jones on the back end,
real quick,
and those DBs on the front side of the play.
I just want to point out why I feel like Chris Jones destroys this play, and Leo does a great job of keeping the edge or whatever. Shamari, what I want to point out was Shamari's patience right here, because a lot of guys would necessarily either want to try to get up a little bit earlier to cut that angle off, and he doesn't over pursue it or anything. Like that could be a point where JT sees that and he may make him miss in the hole, but just driving him to the sideline, and then Jalen Watson as well doing his job and keeping his run fits as well too. So shout out to Shamari. I know I've been hard on him all year, but I appreciate you for doing your job right there, bro.
Whole secondary get a game ball for me. More so Brian Cook. He probably had a game of his career for me. Tackling wise, he was just in every spot he needed to be.
Trent McDuffie doing his thing on the edge there. Obviously, still 5 yards gained on the play. shout out to Trent McDuffie squaring up Johnathan Taylor and bringing him to the ground.
Hey, but with JT, you live with 5 yards.
That's a fact.
5 yards. I'm good with that. This is one of them games, 4 or 5 yards. I'm okay with. It's them 30, 40 yard runs.
But that's where he's broken them off the entirety of the season. It has been able to make one guy miss, or break through one tackle. Look at just textbook. Break down, making sure you're outside so he can't beat to the edge. Wrap up, hit him in the hip, and he's down. and that's a solo tackle for Trent McDuffie. And again,
Make 'em earn
it's
it.
5 yards, so it's not mind blowing, but it is a really good play. There's just no two ways, but it's a really good play. He's going to be able to get 8 yards on this one here. Get a lot of counter to the outside. Do a good job pulling the guard to be able to open that hole up. And Connor has to chase it down backside.
Credit to Drew Tranquil too. I thought he played one of the better games of his season. This
Huckabee had the tackle of the season for him.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
definitely, they definitely did have the tackle of the season.
That third down stop.
Another play that Chris Jones absolutely destroyed.
Bro, he was doing this the entire game, bro.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was a long day for them boys in the interior for the Colts.
When 9-5 locked in,
Chris Jones just again, and he's on the backside of this play for all intents and purposes. The way that they're blocking this up, destroys the guard one-on-one and chases him down there for a 1 yard loss on 2nd and 2.
Yeah. And I would say, like, man, for 9-5, like, he's one of those. I don't need you to hunt sacks, bro. I need you to be this guy right here.
Disruptor.
Disruptor. A guy that frees up other guys like Nick and True to make plays in the backfield and things of that nature. Like I love, obviously we want Chris to obviously get sacks and affect the quarterback as well.
Great job, B. Cook.
But when he's doing things like that, he's the best defensive tackle in the league. I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody says.
Look at the way,
probably the best defensive player in the league for real.
This is excellent job by safety coming from depth and being able to play the run downhill, man. This is an awesome play by Brian Cook here. Just being able, hey, we're gonna I see the 2 blockers, I'm splitting them, and I'm gonna be able to get you on the ground, man. Bolden helps to clean them up, man. That's a really good play by Brian Cook right there.
Look at your boy Coach Mary talking to you. Talk that Coach.
They did essentially everything, that I had a space before all this, and they did essentially everything we talked about as far as, shutting JT down and pretty much putting the game in Daniel Jones' hands. And obviously Daniel Jones, I think first half really played a really good game or whatever, but you can clearly tell he's got to do that consistently for 4 quarters. And can he do that?
That was the question.
That's the question.
Really good gap integrity by everybody across the line here, presenting a united front and making sure to string out this zone concepts. And there's just no cutback lane. He's like, I got a guy here, got Cook here, I got Chanel. I think that is Chanel right there, and Karlaftis pushing down backside, man. This again another good team effort.
Stopping the run is
do y'all want to
11-man thing?
Technique.
This is why I say we have one.
No, it's technique, but it's pride.
We shut the run down. When they want to do it.
But this just show you how much pride they have in shutting down the run. That's ultimately what shutting down the run is. You gotta have pride and want to do
best running back in the league only had 50 yards. Nobody in their mother would have said that was gonna happen coming into this week.
So the 27-1, 27-yard run. They're just gonna get it to the outside here, which obviously they're playing for the QB sneak on the inside. They went a little counter, block down. Kick Quinn Nelson out to get out the corner and open that up. And this is a touchdown saving tackle. There are safeties in the National Football League that Taylor has embarrassed throughout the entirety of the season, and season past for that matter, that, got in space against him that ultimately Cook here just does enough to push him out of bounds. And ultimately Colts only score 3 on that drive instead of 7. So that's a 4-point save there.
Thanks.
Go tell Tommy Harold. He had a lot to say about Brian Cook.
That's a fact. A lot of people been options for B. Cook, man. He had probably had a career game on Sunday. Not gonna lie. Every time he needed to be in the right place, he was in the right spot. Coach Spaz gave him his flowers today too during the presser.
And I think this run defense is, I know a lot of people had a lot to say about the Mike Pennell signing. This run defense has been a lot better since Mike Pennell has gotten back.
Why'd you say? Y'all thought that was Mike Pennell? Let's not do that. Come on, people. I know we're upset, but let's relax. Y'all see him shut down the best running backs in the league on the money on the line. I'm never doubting Mike P, bro. That was a big signing. We needed that for sure. Just that tone setter.
Yes.
That's good penetration by Drew, even though he didn't finish it off, but you slowed him down to get the job done. And I think this is.
I think he makes this one too.
Yeah, so this is again 20-9 after that Kareem Hunt fumble. This is a pretty massive play.
Yeah, you think if they get a first down or a 20-yard gain right here or something like that, like how much momentum swings in their favor at that point in the
Quentin
game.
Nelson whipped so bad on this Chris Jones rep. Watch this.
Yeah. I mean, they're running.
He just trying to wash him down, and
they're running duo, so they're running the combo blocks here. But it just he whiffs, and that leaves both the linebackers free to go and get at Johnathan Taylor. And
he ain't block nobody.
The penetration that Chris Jones creates then makes Johnathan Taylor have to cut back. And Nick Bolton and Drew Tranquill meet there. So another really good play. You see Chris Jones fired up after that.
Let's go.
It's the 2nd and 6 here.
Okay, without
Good field, Jaden.
We'll see.
Jaden may be just a tad slow because he's reading the tight end motion there.
Yeah, and he had a two-way go too. Yeah, so he was like, he can go either way. But that monster on the ground, he's a big
probably not. He honestly probably gets a little bit of a hold there by Quentin Nelson too. But good job by Johnathan Taylor being able to run through the tackle there. But of course, this is the biggest play of the game, or at least as far as the defense stop is concerned. The last Johnathan Taylor run of the game as well. That does come in overtime.
Look who's in the box. I love it, Spags. Thank you. Thank you. You listen to the show, man. Like, thank you.
He been watching. Steve,
thank you. Thank you.
Show, Steve.
Right.
Watch, bro.
Put your goons in the box, dog. I mean, he does nothing on this play, but still.
It is what it is. So the play is made. Chris Jones swipes across the center, and what that does is it's going to open up this A gap where Quentin Nelson is going to go the other way. The center's going to try and push him off, and Drew Tranquill's going to come in and really get the big hit. But Chris Jones still, after swiping across, still is able to get into the backfield enough after splitting this double team, and helps out Drew and being able to bring him down. So it's an awesome play by Chris Jones to set up Drew Tranquill to make a great play too in the backfield for this tackle for loss, which is massive, and set them up to be able to get the ball back in overtime and get the game-winning drive.
Yeah, 3rd and 1. I thought I was like they're gonna convert and we probably have to get another 3 and out or whatever, but man, to have that in that moment of the game, I think that's the moment where I clearly knew, like, yeah, we're gonna win this game.
The fact that they didn't go under center, like, you know, you're giving the ball to JT. The fact they try to do it out of gun, and it's so funny after games, fellas, hearing fans complain, and obviously see Lou send me some of the Colts spaces and just to like hear what they were saying. All of the things we gripe and complain about across the National Football League, a lot of OCs do the same thing. DG, run out of shotgun when it's a short yardage moment. Throw the ball instead of running it when you know you need to get yardage to give your team momentum. Not playing from under center and not playing to your strengths. All the complaints that we have, Chiefs Kingdom, across the league, so many of these OCs that you love and think they're some of the best in football, just like we hold Andy Reid's that regard, they make those same mistakes every Sunday. The Sean McVays, the Kyle Shanahans, the Shane Steichens, like any OC across the league will play out of gun when it's a goal line situation, not get under center, not run power when you know you have more of a zone scheme running O-line. They all do the same thing. So don't think that all these mistakes just come from Andy Reid. All these OCs across the league, young or old, all make the same dumb mistakes. Mm-hmm. And that was a bad mistake by Steichen right there. I bet he would take that one back.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it sometimes has to do with how many tendencies you show during a game, how much film people have on you up until, I mean, like, we're 12 weeks into the season. We obviously know, everybody knows what the Colts are going to do at this point. Everybody knows what the Chiefs are going to do. And I think sometimes some coaches get to a point where they try to outsmart another team and go with a different look, but then they end up outsmarting themselves and making their own selves look dumb. Instead of just doing what worked to get you here at this point, and executing it at a high level. That's why I always say it ultimately, for me and my viewpoint on it, it falls on the players sometimes too, because the players got to execute the plays. You know, like coaches, I can't. The only thing I can do is call the play. You know, I can't go out there and make the play for them. You know.
Speaking of which, we can break down some things in which the Colts did have some issues as far as some execution on these key plays. Far as I think they'll be okay. We'll talk about the Cowboys in a second. He saved your season yesterday. Shut the hell up, bro. I'm sorry.
You didn't see that catch he made? All right.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Rashee Rice and Xavier really in a little bit.
Right.
So there was two parts of it. Be able to stop Johnathan Taylor on early downs from running the ball, and then be able to then translate that into Daniel Jones getting into some uncomfortable situations. We saw some pieces of that early on. Now, later into the game, and this is into the third quarter, we get to see some of that start to affect them as far as some of the stuff that, you know, the defense is trying to do. So they send downs in motion. They're still showing a little bit of an overload look from the left. They do end up sending the blitz, and it's pretty well picked up. The difference is this guy right here, 95, and we'll see it from the other copy, is whooping the right guard for the Colts and is flashing in Daniel Jones's face, which ultimately makes him get rid of the ball high and outside, probably a little bit quicker than he would have liked to. And if he had gotten it inside, you know, it's probably a first down for Josh Downs here. It's a 3rd and 1, so obviously it's a first down if he catches it. But Daniel Jones is just a little bit uncomfortable, and we'll show it from the reverse angle so you guys can see Chris Jones. But this is a play that's made by 95 and gets the Chiefs off the field, point blank, period.
Yeah, like I said, these guys on the inside, and Quentin Nelson has obviously been one of the better guards in the last decade in this league. But I don't know who 71 is, but he was
had a long day.
This is and this is the other thing about it. This is where the individual talent and greatness of Chris Jones matches the scheme design of Spags. You send the blitz from the left side because you know you want to create the one-on-one with their right guard and Chris Jones. So you say we're overloading it. We know the right guard's going to be on an island because they have to slide away. And we get that one-on-one for Chris Jones to get immediate face to Daniel Jones's front side. And obviously he tries to throw it into it, but he's not able to. You see, even Pierce was open on the back end, but it's difficult to deal with that type of pressure immediately in your face.
Yeah, I know a lot of people, like I said, had criticisms of Chris Jones and the contract and things of that nature, man. This is why you pay a guy like this the amount of money that he's making. I know everybody loves sack numbers and things of that nature. I'm just tell you off rip, bro. Interior defensive linemen usually don't put up a high amount of sack numbers. That's why Aaron Donald was a freaking anomaly in this league. Like Aaron Donald is one of one. You know, like there will never be another guy like him in his league. He was literally a freak. Chris Jones is on that level of there will never be another Chris Jones in this league. I'm sorry.
Look at that. And again, this is another play made by Chris Jones in the way that he is able to create that one-on-one. This is actually the 4-man pass rush ultimately that does it.
Yes.
And Daniel Jones has to get rid of this ball quicker than he would like to do. And yes, the Colts are the number one offense coming into this week. I don't know if they still have it. I'm not entirely sure.
It may be the Rams now.
True, Fred. One of one. Never be another monster.
They definitely. Yeah,
Miles different, boy. He already got 18 sacks.
Those guys are freaks.
Jesus Christ.
There's never going to be another one of those either. Colts are still number one in points per game. So even after the Chiefs held them to 20, they're still number one. This is another play made by Chris Jones, and it's just the power speed combination. He immediately gets into Gonzalez's chest, and Gonzalez has been playing well, swipes away the hands, and then teleports inside and it's immediately in Daniel Jones's face again. And it's just, hey, you got to get the ball out because you don't want to take a sack. He just throws the ball really into the first row. Nice catch. Good catch by you. It was a good job, fan. I see that I forgot his name. We got the Blazer guy.
Dude with the Blazer. Oh, yeah. I forgot his name. Yeah.
But yeah, another play made by Chris Jones to get the Chiefs off the field, man. a massive play there.
Good pressure by George, and let him know Daniel Jones he can't step up to his left. Immediate pressure in his face by Chris Jones. Your two best guys showing up when they needed to be great. Love it.
Mm-hmm. And again, Chiefs backed up here. End up sending a cover zero look where they're going to end up cross-dogging Drew Tranquil into the hole. They send Leo Chanel out at the A gap and at the left guard, Quentin Nelson, and they're going to loop Nick Bolton all the way around. But the chaos that's created ends up opening up the A gap on the left side for George Karlaftis to come through, and Drew Tranquil kind of sneaks through. And the coverage on the back end is really good, man. Like,
look at that
Josh Downs,
by Trey McDuffie, all pro, locked up. Man.
Yeah, I mean, Watson's doing a good job on Pittman. McDuffie doing a good job on Pierce.
Throw the flag back, Judge.
Yeah, we'll get to that in the reverse angle. Maybe Downs versus CRW, but even then, he's kind of trying to sit down, and that's not really open. Ball goes all the way outside because Daniel Jones is under pressure. But nice little blitz design. Doesn't get a true free runner, but ultimately does get pressure in Daniel Jones's face. He's backed up, has to throw it away. But in my opinion, this is a good job by the pass rush, but really about the one-on-one matchups. McDuffie top of the screen, Watson bottom of the screen, CRW sticking with Downs, not allowing that play to be made ultimately there. And we'll get to the reverse angle, as DG said, because there should have been a safety and because of a holding penalty that you're going to see at the left tackle here on Charles Menu.
Who's the back judge? Are you blind?
He's staring. Look, he's looking.
Like, bro, how do
he's
you
looking?
Are you blind, sir? Are you looking right at him? Like, throw the flag.
And this normally a lot of times that there are holding calls that are negated by rip moves by defenders. This is not one of those times. There's no rip move here. He is just simply being
got his shoulder like this.
Yeah. Can you take a Benny who out to dinner first before you know?
Boy, he had his shoulder pad all the way up on his arm. Like
make it love to the boy.
I do. Let me go back because I do want to show the blitz design. But yeah, I mean, it's the reality situation is refs did miss some things on both sides throughout the game. I don't get
they call that phantom face, man. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't get the narrative somehow it was in the Chiefs' favor when the Chiefs had a touchdown taken off the board.
Exactly.
I just don't get it. And then this safety call as well. There's also another egregious one. Oh, Brashard Smith was about to get open, and then the Zaire Franklin held on to him, and it wasn't a PI, but it is what it is. But again, I did want to show the design of the blitz. Send Drew Tranquil at the center sliding away. Sending Leo Chanel at the guard slide. I'm sorry. Drew Tranquil at the guard that side, sending Leo Chanel at the guard and center sliding away, and then having Nick Bolton and George Karlaftis both screen through the middle. Drew Tranquil does find his way towards Daniel Jones and kind of affects him, and Nick Bolton gets there late too. So
nice little loop action too.
That's a perfect job of your mesh matching coverage. Everybody did their 111 on that play. Great.
Excellent for the rush. Excellent for the back end too. 3rd and 3 here in the fourth quarter. This is after we scored the touchdown. Yeah, so this is after they scored a touchdown and go for 2. Going to motion the running back up. Obviously, late slow blitz. And Daniel Jones comes to understand. And this is again, we're getting to a cover 0 look, and they disguised it well for the first initial motion. They're going to bring Taylor back in, but McDuffie here is like, "Hey guys." There's too many of you guys over here because we need somebody over here to guard the guy in the slot.
I got 2.
It's Jaden Hicks in the position, fortunately. Jaden Hicks still doesn't necessarily do the best of job at clamping down. Fortunately, Daniel Jones off base because of the cover 0 look that has spooked him at this point. Is trying to get this inside to Pittman with Watson with the jam at the line of scrimmage. Holds him up just for it to go wide.
Should have went the other way.
Lock him up, Jay Watt.
Yeah, he could add down. He could add down.
He could have had down.
I understand. I in this point, I kind of do understand what Daniel Jones is doing. You're obviously giving your best receiver on the team a chance to win, and make the play. That's ultimately. I mean, if the game is on the line, 11 is probably who I'm going to go to in these situations. So, but he should have went to down.
And I will say it again. This is another play that is made by the attention of Chris Jones because they line it up. The offensive line has to account for essentially 7 across, but they know theoretically the running back is probably held by him, and they're sending him out on a route, so they don't have to account for him. But Karlaftis is going to be free off the edge because they can't account for him necessarily. So Karlaftis is free, But the reason why this entirety says theoretically it should be the center head up on Bolton. The center is so worried because Chris Jones keeps beating their right guard that he has to go and double team him to prevent him from getting through. It opens up the pathway for Nick Bolton to be right in Daniel Jones's face when he's trying to release this. And he ends up going a little bit wide to Michael Pittman. So again, that's where 95 shows up. And the previous plays in which he continued to win helps out on later plays as well. 3rd and 10 here. Pittman going in motion. And they get the little end breaker here. But another good job. Again, another cover 0 blitz, and they're playing it from depth. But even though Pittman gets it out, a good play here to get him on the ground immediately from Hicks. And obviously Cook is there to help out. But again, when you're compared to the earlier play where it's 3rd and 2, you can play it from depth as a safety as long as you be able to wrap up and tackle, which Hicks does a good job of.
Play my goon, man.
Come on, when you start send that pressure when you need to, Spags. You know what you learned your lesson from last week. Stop sitting back in coverage. You send that heat, you got to trust your DBs on the back end to make a play, and they did.
Play my goons, man. B. Cook, Jaden Hicks. Play my goons, man.
Here, the Colts do have enough players to actually block this up because they keep their running back in, and they do pass it off properly. So it's not necessarily any free runners that end up happening, all things considered. But still, Daniel Jones, because of the earlier stuff, feels like he's got to get this out short and quickly to Michael Pittman. And fortunately, he does. And Jaden Hicks, almost straight Jaden Higgins. Jaden Hicks does make that play. So, and that was the last 3rd down in which Daniel Jones did attempt to pass, and it was a really good job on a consistent basis for what you saw. Just the early down run stuffing, and then the ability to heat up Daniel Jones on 3rd down to get off the field. It was an excellent job by the Chiefs. Again, Nick Bolton was a piece of it, obviously getting people in the right places. Leo Chanel had a good game. Drew Tranquil had a good game. Obviously, we talked about Chris Jones having a really good game. I thought Karlaftis was solid. The other defensive linemen just did their jobs, especially from a run stuffing perspective. Nothing incredibly, even though I think Charles Mediu probably earned himself a safety on that holding call. But the back end was excellent. These are 3 really good wide receivers for the Colts, 3 wide receivers that had continued to make plays versus other teams. Obviously, we know Tyler Warren continued to make plays, and the back end did not allow them to get off. And I thought that was really impressive. Sands and Ashton Doolin long kind of play action on the 3rd and 1 that happened earlier in the game, and that was the leading receiver as a result of that. So good job by the Chiefs defense, man. And those consecutive 3 and outs in many ways saved the Chiefs season by being able to have that type of effort. I did want to say any other unsung heroes before we go ahead and move over to the other side of the ball real quick.
I'll say Jalen Watson to me had a couple good plays in this game. He's been playing phenomenally well, especially, and I think it's really starting to show because even guys like Tony Romo and them are starting to kind of pick up on what I think Tony Romo said he should be a Pro Bowler this year.
He did say that, yep. At some
point.
Okay,
so let's tone it down here, Tony. But but yeah, Jalen Watson has played very well up until this point, and I thought he had a really, really nice day out there making a couple plays. His technique has been really, really phenomenal this year as well too. Hasn't been real grabby or anything or panicky, anything like that. So that's really, really good to see, especially when you got especially when you have 2 good corners on each side and having Trent Duffy and him as well.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, I had to grab some real quick. So with that being said, what'd you say?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and flip to the offensive side of the ball. And I think the story of this game, in my opinion, is the fact that the Chiefs decided to use their top 2 wide receivers like real wide receivers. Now, I won't say it's the first time all year, but in many ways.
First time in 3 weeks, we can say that.
Yeah.
So about
that we've been doing the last 2 games.
It is something that we've been asking for, to say the least. So I want to get started at least with the Xavier Worthy target specifically here, so that we can take a look at him. We'll get him on the screen. I want to make sure. All right.
Probably so, Fred.
Yeah, really. Xavier really lined up in the slot here. with Rashee Rice, and this is the type of stuff that you can do, because we've seen how many times Rashee Rice uses this type of play to get isolated one-on-one with a linebacker, and he ends up cooking the linebacker. Well, that means that this linebacker, when he's playing that kind of zone coverage, is going to be more inclined to step up on Rashee Rice. Run Xavier Worthy right off of that slot, right into this open space behind him. Almost put his right on him. Xavier takes a hit. Nice little 9-yard gain there on, I think it was second down, to be able to set up in 3rd and 1. Right? Second down. It's 1st and 10. 1st and sets up the 2nd and 1. Again, good job taking
great detail on running the route. Get into the second window. Give Pat a good lane for you.
Yep.
This has been one of the points of where they've kind of gotten away from all of this the last couple of weeks.
I told you they be trolling DG. Y'all think I'm lying.
This is going to be the speed out, I believe, to Xavier Worthy here. They're going to get some soft coverage on the outside. Mahomes going to play fake outside. Little quick stop route. Hit him there. Nice catch by Xavier Worthy.
That's his money
extensions.
He runs that a lot.
Yeah. Especially when you get that
with those.
Yeah, especially when you get that soft coverage as well. I want to go back to the sideline so it'll show it. Obviously Sauce is out there. Or is that Mooney? Is that Mooney at the top of the screen? Yeah, it's Mooney at the top of the screen.
Mooney.
But that is some of the things that you have to respect if you're a corner, because of what the speed is. He eats up the space so quickly. If he stops, I mean, it's damn near impossible to recover from.
And Kenny Moore
doesn't get out there enough.
Yeah, exactly.
So a really good job, and obviously Mahomes is able to get it around Kenny Moore for that nice little, like you said, drive starter. But to was it 1st and 10 again, make it a 2nd and short, which is the perfect place for an offense to be. And in some ways, 2nd and short is more dangerous than a 1st and 10 further down the field, to be perfectly honest with you.
I love the way, like you said, he led him outside to where like either Zay catches it or nobody. So either it's a catch or it's incomplete. There was a play later on in this game where he did the opposite to Rashee that he kind of missed a touchdown on.
Right.
Just a slight critique.
And we'll talk about that target here. This one was, again, eating up that space versus Sauce stops. Mahomes puts it on the money, in my opinion. He puts it low and away like it should be. Unfortunately, Xavier really just can't make the catch, kind of coming back to him.
Damn. I wish he would have went to Hollywood on that. Hollywood was coming uncovered on that.
I didn't see Hollywood, so I'm interested now. I didn't watch what happened on the backside of this.
Backside.
Went 3-by-1 versus Mooney.
Yeah. Hollywood starts to run this crosser, and then about right there, he's uncovered. Pretty much.
Yeah. He was already predetermined he was going to throw it down.
Yeah, because it's the sprint out option.
Yeah, exactly. You're not thinking about backside.
I just hope that's something that they go into this week's kind of seeing, like if we get that same kind of look.
You get that zone look. Don't be so quick to, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a big thing. I mean, you put Kelsey, Rice, and Worthy on one side of the formation, everybody's going to be looking to that side as far as that's Juju. I shouldn't say that, but you put Worthy, Kelsey on the one side of the formation, everybody's normally going to be looking to that side, especially on the sprint out. So that backside could be open certainly in the progression as well, depending on who you got blocking, of course. They're really running the zig route. Ultimately, isn't stopped immediately, and then kind of tries to start running away downfield. Tries to cut and cover on that. It's just a little short. They had a shot.
I know. He hit Rashee open too. They both came back to him. Yeah,
and look, they're both pretty good as far as the scramble drill stuff is concerned too. So there wasn't anybody initially open on the design of this play.
There wasn't. That's why Pat ran around, had to extend, give him a chance.
Yeah. And this was some of the story early on in which it wasn't really a great deal of guys open. Hollywood does end up separating at the top of the screen here. Rashee's kind of pretty well locked up. Kelsey kind of open a little bit, but by the time he's open, it's starting to get a little bit tight inside the pocket. And that's why Mahomes is kind of scrambling to try to get somebody open. So, again, say, hey, do you take the Hollywood at the top of the screen here because you trust him? I don't know from that perspective, but it ended up it's 3rd and 3, so you're really just looking for the conversion. You're not necessarily looking to take the shot on this play.
Yeah, I think this was a point in the game where Tony Romo was kind of saying that he really wasn't trusting his eyes what he was seeing. And I hate saying this, but that early pick, you could just tell it rattled him a little bit.
He predetermined.
Yeah, I think he was this game. You could clearly see he was overthinking a little bit too much, and not necessarily because there's a play later on at the end of the game when they're in the red zone, and it was a window. I thought that he could have fit into Xavier to score, but I think he took a sack, and I think he kind of was like, I don't want to force it and we lose.
Because I think
just take the 3.
Yeah.
For good reason.
Hey, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Right.
I always love when we get into these bunch formations, especially with these 3 speed guys, because you have to respect their speed so much down the field, and then you get that little sprint out action. And Rashee Rice occupies Kenny Moore. Mooney automatically is he doesn't have a chance of getting out there as far as leverage is concerned. And Xavier Worthy's out there for a free 8 yards to get the conversion, or 11 yards, I should say, to get the conversion there. So I love that bunch set when you get those 3 guys as good field threats, whether it's Hollywood and Xavier or it's Taekwon and Xavier, and then Rashee Rice to get the underneath stuff off of it. It's a really nice combination there.
Yeah, I think that was another point that Romo kind of brought up too while the game was going on, was basically just saying, everything they want is outside the numbers right now. They necessarily keep trying to go inside the numbers, but
it's a timing and detail thing.
Yeah.
Mooney is obviously playing outside leverage. He's saying, hey, you're not going to get outside here, and Mahomes is playing it to throw it outside on a stop route. And again, say, what's the attention to detail? What's the landmarks that Worthy's supposed to be on compared to where Mahomes ends up throwing it? We don't know those details, but obviously they're not on the same page on that target.
Yeah. And for the people that always talk about Worthy being overrated and things of that nature, like, we're still watching a second-year player in this league, still trying to find his way and get acclimated to what's going on. He's had his flashes, obviously, made a big play in this game that helped you win the game. So I don't see how you can say he's not getting open or whatever. But there are points in the game where you could just clearly still tell that Xavier's still a very young player and still learning everything that's going on.
And he still has limitations to his game. And you can see it here at the top of the screen, in which Ward does a good job playing with contact on him, getting hands on him, makes it difficult for him at the top of the route. And Worthy ultimately does get himself in a position to make this play at the catch point. But, Ward gets a hand in there and doesn't necessarily allow it. Now, how much contact does the ref decide to allow at the top of the route? It varies. It is what it is. But it is a play in which, Worthy does have a shot to make, and Mahomes ultimately gives him a chance to make the play too, where he ends up putting this ball pretty much on the money. It just unfortunately goes right through his hands, and he can't secure it.
I love you, Mooney, dog, but you got away with one right there, brother. You got away with one right there.
You know what you were doing, Mooney.
Right.
And then this is the big one. As far as the game is concerned, 3rd and 7, Chiefs in overtime. Obviously, I got to have it play ultimately for this drive to stay alive. And again, you're coming out of this bunch set top, Tyquan Thornton as a point man, Travis Kelce with him, Xavier Worthy right here. And Rashee Rice was dealing with cramping, it seemed like, / a hamstring that obviously, we'll talk about in a bit. And he's off the field for this play. But this is a bunch that does give you an opportunity to try and create some things. Travis Kelce gets an inside release here, Tyquan Thornton, and you're seeing they're playing man once again. And these are the type of routes that Xavier Worthy can succeed on because he has the speed that he does, where he can really run away from guys. And ultimately, he's able to create that separation. And Ward is in such terrible trail technique. This safety is essentially is frozen. And when I get to the backside copy, I'll show it too. But Worthy, again, just is able to run away from Ward and creates that window for Mahomes to hit him. Good adjustment by Worthy as well to be able to still make the catch
on the backside shoulder. Hell of a catch there.
Really good job by making that catch on that adjustment too. But those are the types of things where Xavier really can continue to win because he runs away from guys with his speed. And good job of getting through that initial physicality and creating that separation for Mahomes to hit him. I did want to show I wanted to show the backside because I showed you guys the single high safety that you'll see kind of bailing out here. Mahomes, the first part of this play is kind of just looking at the safeties, looking at the safety moving forward, and then at the last second comes off of it. And for everybody at home, this is not how you're supposed to play quarterback and throw a football, but he is able to throw this ball on a rope to Xavier Worthy there after he creates the separation. But that's the difficulty, and I'll go back to the sideline for this. When you're playing a single high safety, you got Xavier Worthy and Tyquan Thornton running at you. It's hard to choose which one you're supposed to help on. So Tyquan Thornton's corner route takes the safety of Xavier Worthy's, kind of deep crosser. It ends up running with them, hits Xavier Worthy right there for a big chunk in overtime.
He had his pick of the litter. He could have threw it to Kareem for a check down. He could have ran and got the first down. Kelsey pivot route could have got the first down. Open, yeah. All three of those guys were open. That was a good concept for sure.
Yeah, and look, we're gonna see more of this guy right here, by the way, because I don't think you're gonna see No Gray, who did an amazing job, I gotta say, somehow catching that ball with his elbow and his thigh, and unfortunately knocking himself out. So it doesn't look like we're gonna get Noah Gray. And again, we're talking about the Chiefs news, but that is going to be more Robert Tonyan. But yeah, could have had Kelsey on this pivot route, and it'll be very interesting to see how much the Cowboys try and live in man, given some of the answers that the Chiefs found, and the fact that the Cowboys are far more comfortable playing zone throughout the entirety of the season. So, with that being said, I do want to shift over to the Rashee Rice aspect of it, and I think that after a very quiet first half, in which, in my opinion, he kind of struggled. That's just me personally. I thought that he had some plays that he could have made that he left out there, some of which that Mahomes didn't give him the most amount of help on. I'll certainly admit that. But I thought that he did an amazing job coming back 100 plus yards, I should say, in the second half to be able to create some plays as well. And of course, it starts with the RPO action ultimately, in which he clean destroys board, but the defensive end has no reason to play the run action and ends up tipping in the air and not to. The thing that it is for me is, if you feel comfortable in this aspect of it, block it up normally. Don't do the RPO where you leave the defensive end by himself, because then this guy, who we'll talk about in a little bit, can hit the defensive end and make sure he doesn't get his hands up. And Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice can kill his cornerback on this slant route and end up catching the ball and going for a while. But run the RPO, the end is unblocked, and ultimately ends up being an interception and a huge play to start out the game for the Colts as well, which was frustrating to say at least.
Starting a game with an RPO on the 2-yard line, Andy, you got to be shitting me. I told you he's the biggest troll, bro.
Yeah, the play call, and then I think as well as the decision too by Mahomes. Like I understand, Pat, you want to win with your arm, you think you're ultra confident in it. Hand the ball off, dog. Hand the ball off. Let's do it.
Y'all know what I'm going to say. If you're calling an RPO, it's a pass, man. You get under center and run the ball. Which fortunately they did do. So thankfully they did learn their lesson, later on in the game. But that's just a reality situation. You're not handing these things off. Run the ball if you're going to run the ball. Rashee Rice, a little bit of bubble screen here. Obviously, we've seen it a bunch. Only gets about 4 yards, but ultimately it's enough to convert on the 3rd and 3, I think it was, to move the chains too. Which you get double a gap mugged up. You feel confident in being able to create enough space to be able to get Rashee Rice through. Juju doing the dirty work as always.
Right.
I think this is going to be another little quick screen there. Get everybody out. Rashee Rice only gets about 3 yards ultimately. I think that does convert too, right? This is 2nd and goal after the penalty. So they tried to, and this is the thing for me. I understand after the penalty, you call whatever you want to. You've hopefully learned a lesson here in the second half that you can cut this down by running a normal play to a 3rd and whatever on goal and give yourself a real shot into the end zone. You don't have to do the gimmick plays, the gimmick screens to be able to just feel okay about it. Like, no, just run a real play. let these guys get into a route pattern and run some crossing routes and see if somebody pops open, man. That's what I'd like to see in these
After
situations.
the penalty, your goal should be we need at least try to get these penalty yards back so that we're more set up. I'd rather be 3rd and goal from the 10 or the 5-yard line than to be 3rd and goal from what essentially the 20-something yard line.
Right, and because you're not going to convert them. Go ahead.
To DMac's point, when we needed the biggest plays of the game, DG, crosser to Hollywood or to Aze, another crosser from Rashee. And if you are going to run that jet sweep or that pop pass that they love to run for Rashee in the red zone, why are you doing that on a 6-yard line? That's a 1 to 2 yard play. You don't do that from the 6. It's just a timing and place of when they want to run these plays. The concepts I like. It's just when they run them is just they need to be better at.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we get off this one. Rashee Rice, again, this is another kind of scramble drill. Does a good job trying to run away from Kenny Moore. Mahomes just puts the ball. I guess he flattens it out as far as the throw is concerned. Rashee Rice, I guess, tries to get on his horse here. This is still in the first quarter, right? Yeah, still in the first quarter, but this is after they had run hurry up a few times, so they were a little bit sluggish. And he just tries to get it around him. Kenny gets a fingertip on it and ends up breaking the concentration enough for Rashee Rice, and he can't haul it in off the scramble drill. Still can't tell. I don't know. Kenny probably got his left hand on it a little bit there to prevent that the catch. Yeah. This was another one at the end of the half. I was a little bit disappointed by the play sequencing. We did the whole run the ball on the first down when you get into goal line with a timeout. You throw the ball first, and then you give yourself the option to run the ball or throw the ball twice, and then if you get close enough, then you can run the ball again. But they do the little pop pass to Rashee Rice on the end. And he gets 2 yards, but ultimately because he gets stacked up there, and this is 1st and 6, they got to take that timeout, and that ultimately seals it that the next 2 have to be passes, and they're not.
Back to my point, if you're going to run that play, you run that on the actual goal line. If you're on the 1 to the 2, because that's all you need. Yeah. Rashee's strong enough to get that play, not from the 6. Exactly.
Right. And then again, in these next 2 plays also go to Rashee Rice, ultimately down on the goal line. This one is
such a good route. Oh my god!
Yeah, top of the screen. Rashee freezes Sauce for a second, breaks it off. Mahomes just leaves it inside. Rashee Rice does get his hands on it ultimately, and I still think it's a ball that Rashee Rice should catch, but it's a throw that's behind him from Patrick Mahomes ultimately after getting a little bit of separation to the outside.
Yeah.
Can make a play for. I know it's tough, but you good enough to make that play. Help him out a little bit.
Just one of those things, like I said, 15. I think that early interception just made him a tick off to the during this game or whatever. And that essentially is what happens on plays like this.
Yeah. This play is kind of beat early. Caliendo's beat inside. Oh no, it's Trey Smith. I'm sorry. Trey Smith's beat inside. So Mahomes kind of has to run away. And really nothing initially is there. But Rashee Rice does a good job, in my opinion, kind of setting up Kenny Moore to the outside with some physicality, getting his head around and saying, okay, this is about to be a back shoulder. He just, unfortunately, when he uncovers, he falls down out of bounds.
Stay up and catch that at 6.
Yeah, if he stays up and catches it, it's a really nice play and a really nice scramble drill touchdown from both of these guys together. It's just he sat down out of bounds, and that ultimately ruins what could have been a nice touchdown there. It would have been a huge momentum swing at the end of the half to turn that into, what was that, 20 to, because they didn't have 20 by the time. It would have been 14-13. They're going into halftime instead of 14-9. Just out of bounds by Rashee.
Get that core type 4, stay up.
Yeah. But yeah, in the second half, this is where Rashee Rice starts to turn it on. 1st and 10 in the third quarter. Rashee Rice over the middle of the field does a good job faking inside to get Zaire Franklin to step up, and Mahomes buys a little bit of time, gets it over the top to Rashee. He's able to get some nice yards after the catch for 40+ yards. And again, it's Zaire. Yeah, it's the subtle things. You're coming inside, just a little jab step to get 44. Zaire to step down. who likes to talk on podcasts, and then you get Rashee Rice over top, and he's able to get 40 yards after the catch, man.
Look like a podcaster too. Look slow.
You saying he looks like us out there?
Apparently so. He said he need to get his ass whooped. Well, you got whooped on this route, son.
Yes. Cooked.
He was looking for him too.
Mm-hmm. Sure was looking for him. He ain't find him though.
Couldn't do nothing with him.
Nope. Another quick screen pass. You can get to the bottom of the screen here. They ran the orbit motion to the top. I'm sorry. Orbit motion to the top. Ultimately converts for the first down, which, 3rd and 2. I understand why you do it. Could always just hand the ball off to Kareem, but well, to be fair, they didn't block the end. Yeah, Kingsley turned the ball. So it's a good thing that they threw it out.
That would have been bad.
That would have been very bad if they ended it off.
That was a good PPO. I'm good with that one.
It's a good pass option.
I'm good with this one.
And then look, this is the I think it's 2nd and 13 in the fourth quarter, right? Yeah, 2nd and 13, backed up on your goal line. And this is nothing more than, hey, we're lining you up in the slot. You're our number 1 wide receiver, and we think that you're better than their guy. And Kenny Moore is a really good slot corner, but Rashee Rice does a great job of being able to beat him on this route. A little jab step inside, gets the inside leverage, use a little chicken wing to make sure that he stays inside of him, and then immediately breaks it out, sells it at the top of the route, and accelerates away from him. Mahomes throws an absolute strike to beat Kenny Moore as well. We'll show the reverse angle. I thought he was going to take off, but I know he was hurting a little bit by this point in the game. I thought he was about to take it off and house it, man.
I'm glad he broke that first tackle to give us an extra 10. So I was
for sure. Caliendo does end up losing this rep.
But he died slowly.
That's not Grover. I can't remember who that is. But Mahomes
that's not Grover.
Sticks in the pocket, trusts the pocket. Look at this. Great double team. Latu doesn't have a chance in hell. Latu ain't got a chance in hell. And this is what my old high school coach likes to call a piss missile. That Mahomes unleashes right here, man.
That boy Josh Simmons had Latu and absolute Alcatraz.
Boy was out there doing karate chop skills.
Man.
Chop suey whole game. Bow, bow.
But can't be overstated how massive that one-on-one win from Rashee Rice versus Kenny Moore is. 2nd and 13 to flip things at the end of the half there, or into the fourth quarter there. Another one here, Rashee Rice on this mesh route, and there was one earlier in the game in which Rashee Rice should have got the ball, and it was like a 3rd and 8 on the mesh, and they did a good job of Kelsey selling it, not necessarily creating the offensive pass interference, but just selling it enough that Rashee should have got the ball underneath. We get another one here where Rashee essentially kind of does a little stem, gets the friendly fire, gets open, catches the ball, and it's out in front. And then again, this is 4th and 3 with the game on the line there in the fourth quarter, in which they need to continue this drive. Stems it. Mahomes throws a little bit high, but he makes a good catch, able to get by him, able to get down to the 25-yard line, and puts him in position to, at the very least, tie the game at the end of the quarter, or at the end of the game, end of regulation.
Number 4 showed up, man. Played like
absolutely
a wide receiver 1.
And that's the thing. If you're the number 1 wide receiver, if you're EG, you got to be the guy that steps up in these moments, and he did. And obviously, we talked about Xavier really earlier. He showed up too. So both of those guys earned their stripes, and they did it through obviously some injuries, to say the least.
Boy, you could tell Mooney this is his first game back. Buddy had a long day.
It's a long day. Boy, I mean, it's 90 plays, and it's chasing these guys around for 90 plays. It's not fun, to say the least.
That's what I'm saying.
Get it again. This is a great concept. I love the levels concept, because it's very difficult to deal with this much speed and this on this type of end breaker. Get Xavier really on the deep, kind of the shallow crosser coming late from his outside position. Hollywood Brown running kind of straight through the middle on that kind of crosser that he comes in through, right up the middle of the field to occupy the backside hook defender. Zaire Franklin kind of playing underneath, sees Xavier really flash, so he has to step up, And Rashee Rice just gets a hole right in the middle of them to be able to catch this ball and get down to the 25-yard line again. I just love that. You need to see more of that, in my opinion.
All day. I know he was mad.
Yeah, put these linebackers in conflict and create things in the intermediate areas of the field. You just got to see more of that. And we haven't seen enough of that recently.
Those short crossers, I've been saying it all week. When you put them in conflict, they have to respect it, especially when you got a guy like Worthy running that short crosser. All right, drop back and let Worthy get it. He's going to beat you for the first down every time. It's a lose-lose situation.
Good rep there by Josh, too.
Yeah,
I've been
about to say it too.
Bro, Josh played like an all-pro Sunday. I ain't gonna lie.
Hey, I honestly, both guards on the island, both tackles on the island, and a really good job by them guys right there, giving Mahomes all the time in the world in the pocket necessary.
Thanks. Good block, Juwan, for sure.
Elite feet, man, from Josh.
They've been top 3 in pass block win rate all year. They earn their money on Sunday for sure.
Absolutely. So that's the Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy targets again. A really good game in my opinion by those two and what they had to do to be able to pull through and get us this win. So tip of the cap to both of them, what they were able to put out there. We talked about a little bit the offensive line. Like you said, Josh Simmons, I thought had an excellent game on the edge. I thought Kingsley Suamataia was really good. Same thing with Creed. And specifically after they lost Trey Smith, the fact that they continued to run the ball, but they had to run the ball behind Kingsley Suamataia because they needed that road grading aspect, and Kingsley has been able to provide that. So tip of the cap to Suamataia in the run game as well. And of course, we would be remiss before getting on to the next piece of this is Kareem Hunt, 30 plus touches, 40 plus touches if you count the targets as well. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how he's walking in that practice today. But yeah, man, incredible effort by Kareem Hunt at his age to do what he did.
Got vibranium in his blood. He's from Wakanda.
You ain't
kidding. 30 carries and 3 receptions, so 33 touches, over 100 plus scrimmage yards. Yeah, Kareem was easily outside of Chris Jones, was the MVP of the game for us for sure. He carried us.
Chiefs had not had a 100-yard receiver or a 100-yard rusher in the entirety of the season. They had
both in the same day.
In the same game versus the Colts to save their season. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get to some Chiefs news. Obviously, some things coming out of this game, Trey Smith being the chief among them, ends up having a high ankle sprain and a low ankle sprain. And so he will be out for some number of days and certainly will not be playing on Thanksgiving. Will he be back for the Texans game? I think it's going to be a key storyline to watch. Obviously, it's possible, but we'll see what ends up happening as well. There it is. Noah Gray is going to be out with the concussion. He didn't practice today. We can reasonably assume that he's not going to play either. As you mentioned earlier, probably going to see the first of Jared Wiley this season. Obviously, Robert Tonyan is going to get a lot of look in the 12th personnel sets as well. Something to see what ends up happening. I thought that Dora has shown up when we asked him to, but I think Tonyan can still be very good in that aspect and probably maybe even a little bit better from a blocking perspective too. Chris Wallace was limited today, but seems like he's trending in the right direction. Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy were it's technically limited participants Tuesday on Monday on an estimated report, but they did practice in full today, so you expect them to go. So as far as Chiefs expected to be out, it does look like it's going to be Noah Gray and Trey Smith are going to be the guys that are going to be missing. And the way that the Cowboys interior defensive line is playing, that Trey Smith one is going to be something to watch and how the Chiefs handle that accordingly. I think that's the other thing is, of course, Chiefs have signed Dameon Pierce, who was was he a first rounder? Fourth rounder at a University of Florida, who had a really good rookie season for the Texans, ultimately suffered a pretty bad injury and never really necessarily caught that level of traction afterwards. But he did have himself some explosive runs over the last 3 years that I posted on my Twitter page. But really the main key just to know as far as this is concerned is, hey, I would say he has okay vision. I wouldn't think it was exceptional by any means as far as that's concerned. He can do a little bit of things, but nothing spectacular. I don't know if you guys would agree or disagree as far as that is concerned. On
He's
that
the most
front,
explosive running back on your roster right now.
that is true. That's certainly fair to say. Certainly the most explosive back on the roster.
He reminds me a lot of I went back and rewatched his rookie season just to see where he's at post knee injury, like DMac said. He reminds me a lot of Javonte Williams, who out to those guys like 1 year apart. Kind of had similar rookie seasons. Good speed out of the backfield. They're obviously decent catching the football, not nothing crazy. But one thing he does have great is great contact balance. He really doesn't let the first guy usually get him down. So vision is kind of spotty at times, like DMac said, but when he gets through the hole, he's very explosive, and he usually doesn't let the first person bring him down. And that's something you need to balance out Pacheco and Kareem, who's great on short yardage, who does have that great vision. Having a guy like this who could turn a 10-yarder to a 20-yarder, we just don't have that. And that's what we've been trying to ask for in this backfield, is add more explosiveness. So I wanted us to grab him last year. Unfortunately, and thankfully we got Kareem. So the fact we got both of them in the same backfield, I'm extremely happy right now. I'm not expecting too much from him this year because I was bringing him in the middle of the year, and hopefully this mini bye we'll have after the Cowboys game will help him get somewhat acclimated. And I know he'll probably push to play versus the Texans because it's your old team. You always want to show out versus them, and that game being at home will be a more controlled environment. But having a guy like this is just going to make this backfield even better. And Brashard is growing to his role even more every week. I love this pickup. I love everything about it. And he's young. He's 25. Hasn't really played a lot the last 2 years because they kind of phased him out the offense. So I love this pickup, and it's a great value. And the fact he wanted to come here, that tells you everything what he thinks about us in this organization for sure. Because he had plenty of options of teams he could have went to.
Mm-hmm.
He also provides a little bit of return value from that perspective too. We'll see if that ends up coming into play. It does seem pretty much, as Nate Taylor did report earlier, that he's not really probably going to be active on Thanksgiving, which is in theory understandable, but we'll see. But it does seem like they're targeting for him to play his first game against his old team in the Texans.
You know he want to play that one.
In 12 days' time in Arrowhead, of course, when the Houston Texans do come to town in that hellacious defense. Along the running back front, of course, Isaiah Pacheco is back at practice after being out due to the MCL sprain. Seems like he is going to be a go on Thanksgiving versus the Cowboys. So that is going to help out a running back room that really needs it after Kareem Hunt's, workload, to say the least. The question I got for you guys before we
fat knee brace on.
Yeah, well, he was there without the knee brace, fortunately, today at practice.
I was like, I saw that thing. I was like, dang, Pop, you good?
Yeah.
Precautionary, so it's cool.
After we had the rushing effort and volume that we did, given the Cowboys getting better at rush defense, the interior of the defensive line being better for them with Kenny Clark and obviously Quentin Williams, Trey Smith looking to be out for this game, where the running back situation is at, are you guys going to be okay if it is a pass happy game plan on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, for sure. I think you can clearly take advantage. Yeah. I think you can clearly take advantage of this Cowboys secondary. The defense haven't been good all year for the most part.
I hope they play man. Boy, they're gonna get burned all day. Please. I think heavy zone though. So
right. I know they've been a lot better, especially over the last couple of weeks, especially from the interior perspective and what Quentin Williams has been able to bring to them. But I think the secondary and that linebacking core, I think you can fully take advantage of if you're willing to commit to using the middle of the field.
Where the money is.
So I think that's the matchup that you're essentially looking for from an offensive perspective. I don't expect this to be a heavy run game against the Cowboys or anything like that. We know what kind of damage Pat and them can do when they get in indoor stadiums. So yeah, man, go out there and on Thanksgiving and let it rip, bro. Put on the show.
Get that treatment. Get them hammies right. You're gonna be doing a lot of moving. So
absolutely,
I fully expect the Cowboys to play a lot of 4 and 6 this week. So they play more man than they usually do versus the Eagles, and I think that's more so to Jalen Hurts not getting rid of the ball at times and holding on to it like he usually does. But if you play man against a guy like Patrick Mahomes, you saw what he just did on Sunday. So I would be very shocked if they came out there. And this is Eberflus led defense, who's been playing one of the most heavy zone schemes in the league this year. So I fully expect them to stay in too high this week for sure. So the middle of the field definitely should be open.
Going to be interesting to see. I was going to say, going to be interesting to see how much Pacheco gets run, how much Hunt gets run, and then also specifically, as you mentioned, as far as Eberflus and what type of scheme the Cowboys decide to go with as far as them being a very heavy zone team for the majority of the season. I did not see their coverage breakdown versus the Eagles. Did they run more man than zone?
I think it was one of their higher ones this past week, which
Yeah,
I saw a lot of.
I do know it wasn't one of their highest percentages, and how much they feel comfortable trying to do that versus the Chiefs. Obviously, after doing it versus, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, something to watch as that is concerned. I think one thing is it's very good the fact that we saw Mahomes settle down, as that game wore on, and I want to see more of them get him into rhythm early on with some easier stuff and not so much the RPO stuff. Just get him into rhythm, in my opinion, earlier.
Thanks.
Let's go ahead and roll. I just want to see this real quick before we get into the matchup with the Cowboys, specifically from the breakdown perspective. I did want to show this. Athletic does a great job with their kind of playoff simulator, kind of showing what exactly could happen with these teams. I did a breakdown, on my Twitter, kind of what the Chiefs scenarios kind of look like. They currently sit 10-7, or not 10-7, Jesus, as they currently sit outside of the playoffs at in the 8th seed right now at 6-5. There it is. And just a look to see what the Chiefs kind of look like. Based on what I've done previously, these two games right here, the Texans and Chargers games, are the big must-win games. You can afford some losses elsewhere, specifically to non-AFC teams, really, which, obviously you see the Cowboys. But, if you, in theory, you lose to the Cowboys, but you get these next, 3 games, and even if you lose to the Broncos, you still have a pretty solid shot, 55% as far as a coin flip to get in. Get to the Cowboys game, and even if you lose to the Broncos and handle your business versus the Texans and Chargers, then you're obviously almost guaranteed chance to get in. And obviously, if you win out, that goes up to basically 99%. And it gives you a chance, obviously, at the division, but that's a dream scenario from that perspective. You still need the Broncos to lose 2 more games.
They do play the Packers.
Big things here. If you lose this Texans game, that takes a hit. And that's even regardless of what kind of happens, even though you're still in a solid enough shot, it just, you lose the Texans game and you lose the Broncos game, then you're in real trouble. If you lose the Chargers game and you lose the Broncos game, then you're still in trouble. So if you get both of these games and regardless of what ends up happening, really in the Cowboys or Broncos game, you're still, in a solid enough place to try and, make the playoffs as far as that's concerned, even if you lose both 85 and 76% regardless. So that's the thing for me. Obviously, this Thanksgiving game is still massive, and it's a huge piece of trying to move forward and put yourself in the best possible position, especially controlling your destiny. But those Texans and Chargers game are going to be the big ones to determine the Chiefs season moving forward too. And I just wanted to hit on that real quick. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the matchup versus the Cowboys. Chiefs, obviously, coming off a short week and going on the road to Dallas. Unfortunately, not wearing their AFL Dallas Texans throwbacks, which I always love to see, especially if the Cowboys are going to run their Thanksgiving blues with the blue star as well. We get this matchup that involves a few things that are always fun. Patrick Mahomes in a dome, in which he has awesome numbers. Patrick Mahomes back in Texas for the first time, Dallas specifically, in which obviously that he did grow up within the area. We get Rashee Rice back in the Dallas area as well, as far as that is concerned. And the Chiefs have a chance here to go on the road and get a massive win versus a Cowboys team that essentially saved their season as well last week with the comeback versus the Philadelphia Eagles. So talk to me about what you're going to be watching for the Chiefs offense versus this Cowboys defense. As we mentioned a little bit, that has gotten better since they added Quentin Williams and Kenny Clark. Obviously, Kenny Clark earlier in the season, but specifically Quentin Williams at the deadline. You got Donovan Ezra who's playing some solid ball. Jadeveon Clowney's playing some solid ball. They got Demarion Overshown back at the linebacking core position. They obviously signed Logan Wilson. They got Siobhan Ravel, who's their rookie that they ended up drafting this year. And obviously Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland at the cornerback position. Is it Trayvon Diggs? Yes, it's Trayvon Diggs. Yeah. So what are you guys looking for the Chiefs offense versus Cowboys defense?
Man, like I said,
linebackers for sure.
Yeah. Middle of the field is going to be a huge key point in this game to me. I think if you can take advantage of the middle of the field, kind of how you did against the Colts, I don't really see the Cowboys having the personnel to really stop it over the middle.
Wilson look old and slow. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, a lot of Rashee Rice in the slot.
Like I said, get them hammies right, boy. Get that treatment. Get that stem. There's going to be a lot of middle of the field work this week. So, obviously, Quentin and Kenny been really good at stopping the run, and we just came off a big workload this weekend. No Trey Smith, so you still got to establish the run up front. You still got to make them earn the right to think that they got to go out there and pass rush on second and third downs. But this will be a week I think you can attack their secondary. They've been giving up a lot of big yards all year to a lot of different quarterbacks. It's indoors. You don't got to worry about any weather or anything of that sort. So. Diggs and Bland have been pretty much given. They probably had their games of the year, ironically, against when they played the Eagles this past week. But I think that said, like I said earlier, more so to speak towards the struggle that Jalen Hurts has had this year as far as holding on to the ball and not seeing the things clearly. I think that's not the issue for a guy like Patrick Mahomes. So Cowboys aren't high in sacks in the league as well. So I love the way Josh and Juwan have been playing in pass pro this year. So I think to DG and DMac's point, it'll be a great opportunity for them to go out there and make explosive plays, but nobody in that secondary really puts any big fears into me. I think Eberflus has kind of shown his card of who he is. He's been a heavy zone guy. That's what they lean on, is what they've been best at, because they obviously don't get that much pressure on quarterbacks. So if they do decide to blitz and play man, I hope they do, because then that means Patrick Mahomes is probably going to throw 4 touchdowns. Because I fully expect Rashee, Zay to all beat their one-on-ones if they play man and blitz us. So I don't think he's dumb. I don't think he wants to blitz Patrick Mahomes. I know he wants to play well in front of his family and everyone. So I fully expect them to play zone and not play as much man, because if you do, they're going to get beat. So I fully expect them to try to make us have 10 to 12 play drives, kind of like Lou and Arumo started the game, make us run the football up front. Do they believe in their front seven more so their D tackle specifically? So they're going to make us run the football, and then when we do, we have to play action and hit our shots over the middle, like DG stated, because there will be opportunities for sure. Because Logan Wilson, I know they traded for him and they needed an upgrade, but he still looks slow. And another guy, Jalen Smith, is still playing football too. That was crazy. Can't believe he's still out there. They got a lot of old corpses out there still playing football. So overshown the knee injury. He's still bouncing back. The burst that he had before pre-injury hasn't fully came back. He's still playing with a knee brace on, precautionary wise, of course. But I think a lot of their guys in their linebacker core can be taken advantage of, whether it be Overshown, Logan, Jalen, whoever it is back there, Marquise Bell. If they go big nickel, I think we could win a lot of those matchups. So please get all your treatment this week. Rashee, Zay, Hollywood, we're gonna need you for sure.
Yeah, I agree. You just gotta, like I said, take full advantage of the middle of the field. The matchup and the advantage is there clearly for the taking, so you got to be ready for it. But also, don't forget to establish a run game, especially early on in this game. I think if you can do that early on, then and be able to get a lead on this team and have to make them play from behind, I think that's things that could really work in your favor a lot. So,
okay, short and simple. And I think the ways in which they use Brashard Smith is going to be very fascinating for me. And you guys spoke specifically about the linebacker position, but for a game plan that it seems to be maybe more pass happy from that perspective. Can you get more of Brashard Smith's receiving talent on the field so that you can use him effectively to create some mismatches with the linebackers? And we saw earlier in the Colts game, they created a good job versus Zaire Franklin. Was it Zaire or was it Jermaine Pratt? Either one of the linebackers for the Colts. They create the one-on-one, and the linebacker had to hold on, and it should have been a pass interference, but ultimately didn't end up getting called. But you got to do more of that. And in my opinion, based on the way that the Chiefs' offensive line is playing, I should say, they should be good enough to really be on an island, as we saw obviously versus the Colts, and be able to hold up from a pass protection standpoint, be able to get 5 guys out in the route and be able to attack from that perspective and create those mismatches versus his linebacker is going to be a good key of that. And then continue to use Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy as real wide receivers, man. That has got to happen. They can't just go away from that. And it's frustrating the fact that they waited so long, it felt like, into this game to do so. But I'm glad that they eventually got to it as well. I was going to look up one other thing. How did you guys feel about the fact that Tyquan Thornton didn't get any run after that report that was earlier in the afternoon before the game? or in the morning.
I mean, I think there was going to be I think that they want to get him involved. I just don't think the game, played to that favor at all.
Not against a Lou Anarumo defense.
Yeah,
He ain't
not
gonna give
against
you
Lou.
too many one-on-one shots.
Yeah, I think this week you'll probably get your chances and shots.
That's what I'm saying. I pray to God Eberflus, if he blitzes and plays man, please, Taekwon will score this week.
Well, look, this is the last thing I wanted to leave people with. Over the last, I would say, for the season, the Cowboys are 29th in explosive play rate allowed, 31st as far as rushing, but 24th as far as passing, allowing 16% of passes to go for an explosive play down the field is 15 plus yards for the record. But even more specifically, they are 32nd over the last 4 weeks as far as explosive pass rate allowed. 37.5% of their passes have gone for 15 plus yards. So they could be had in the air, and you can get them, for chunks in the air too, if you want to see them be able to have that happen. For the Chiefs defense versus this Cowboys offense, this is where it's a little bit different versus we talking about the Colts. The Cowboys have run the ball well, obviously with Javonte Williams, but there's a secondary piece of they have a stepped up wide receiver core in which obviously the Colts have good wide receivers. The Cowboys right now have two great wide receivers. The way that George Pickens is playing, his physicality at the catch point, playing at a really high level. CeeDee Lamb, who has struggled with some drops at times, which is worth mentioning, but still one of the elite wide receivers of the National Football League in his way that he can create separation as well. Jake Ferguson is having himself another solid season at the tight end position. And the reality that this really comes down to is Dak Prescott is one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League, especially from the mind aspect of it. He hasn't had a lot of experience versus Spags. That is something to always look at, and this is something that you always got to watch, especially in these games that Spags can pull out some stuff that he hasn't seen before. But Spags is going to have a nice chess match, I'll say, versus Dak Prescott. We saw him get the Colts offensive line and Daniel Jones under pressure due to some blitzes. He's going to pull some stuff out, and Dak is in my opinion, better equipped to be able to diagnose those things and get the ball out effectively. So what are you guys watching for the Cowboys offense versus Chiefs defense?
Tyler Guyton probably not playing this week, so another opportunity to exploit that up.
They'll be out with the left tackle and I think, what's his name? Nate. I forget his name. The backup left tackle
I know you're talking about. Yeah, I forgot his name.
The backup left tackle is very bad, to say the least. Like Wanye Morris bad.
This should be a big Charles Omenihu hook 'em. Be a big week for you to go out there and make a statement, my boy. I know you ain't did much this year. Chris Jones and George play better, so if you want to go out there and get a sack, I really appreciate it. So I think the D line could take advantage of that O line for sure.
If they can go 4 and not have to blitz Dak, it would be a massive advantage.
Facts.
Yeah.
Keep too high over the top of those receivers.
It's a matchup, like CJ said, that obviously this is not the Colts offensive line, who I think is arguably one of the better lines in this league. You should be able to try to win at least with 4 this week. But ultimately, like I kind of look at this game almost just like the Bills game. In a sense, you want to rush with integrity because Dak is one of those guys that even though he doesn't probably use his legs too often or whatever, he still can and still can beat you with them or whatever, and still be able to make some off script plays and stuff of that nature. So rush with integrity this week, collapse the pocket, and make life hell back there for him, and then 95 be 95, man. Be the same 95 you've been these last 2 weeks off the bye. And I think you can really affect this offensive line up front for sure. The younger offensive line too.
Make them double team you. Get those guys one-on-one on those edges, which we're weak at. We win those. Get pressure on Dak. Dak will give you an interception. You got to go out there and catch it.
Make the play.
Make the play. The ball's going to be in the air. They definitely going to throw it for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is going to be a difficult matchup, in my opinion, for the defense. But I think that's actually a really good thing to distill it down to, because again, you got to bring a similar level of play versus the early down rushes to get Dak Prescott in the true dropback situations. But this is going to come down to, can you get after him with 4? Then you got yourself a shot to be able to win. and get off the field. If you can't and you got to send blitzes, Dak is really good at diagnosing those. So if George Karlaftis and Charles Omenihu show up on the edge, and obviously Chris Jones could do his thing, then you're talking about a situation in which you can have a good day on defense. But it's going to be very difficult, and I think that it is going to look like a little bit of a shootout from that perspective too. With that being said, let's go ahead and get to the Tell the True trifecta. Last week, we did not get a Rashee Rice touchdown. We fell slightly short on the Travis Kelce yards, but we did have what was the other one we had? That one cashed. I can't remember which one it was, but that was whatever. But what are you guys thinking for this Thanksgiving Tell the True trifecta for Chiefs and Cowboys?
Rashee Rice, ATD. I'm going back to the well, baby.
Back to the well.
Gotta get my dog in the end zone. He back at the crib.
Everybody got to eat on Turkey Day.
He should have scored this past week, but the Pack will make up for it.
That is true.
I think I went.
Brashard Smith, 10.5 yards. That did cash. He had 30. Good call.
Good catch, DG.
Good call, DG.
I've been taking receiving yards. They ain't used to yet. They keep putting it at 10.5.
I think that's been back-to-back weeks for me. I called Pat's completions against Denver. I called Brashard Smith's receiving yards. This week I'm gonna go back to the well again. I'm telling you, take the over on Patrick Mahomes passing yards. Defense is not good.
Currently seeing it at 268.5.
Yeah, and I would expect them to light up the world on Thanksgiving for sure. Definitely put on the show for the fans. If it ends up being a shootout, that's what I think the game is going to end up turning into. So I would definitely take the over. Pat's been hitting on that line. He's hit on that line 4 out of the last 5 games. So, I think it's money.
I like that call, to say the least. I'm tempted to go with something Rashee Rice because he is back in Dallas. But I'm actually going to go with a different Texas homecoming. I'm gonna go with Xavier Worthy over 37.5 receiving yards. I think him and Rashee Rice both got to have themselves a really good game, and I think Travis Kelce will have a solid game too. But in my opinion, they continue the stuff with the wide receivers and get them involved. So we're gonna go with Xavier Worthy over 37.5 receiving yards, Patrick Mahomes over 269.5 passing yards, and Rashee Rice anytime touchdown for our Tell the True trifecta on Turkey Day. All right, let's get to it. X Factor and game picks, guys.
X Factor this week. Obviously, if we're going to be throwing the ball, then I'll go Brashard Smith again. Especially at that linebacker level, you clearly take advantage of that. So Brashard Smith will be my X Factor. I'm gonna keep it being Chiefs just win the game, bro.
Yeah. Game pick is dub. Don't care how we do it. My X Factor would probably be Tyquan Thornton. I think this is a week you can take advantage of that secondary. I would expect Eberflus to stick to his guns and play more zone, but he got aggressive last week playing Philly and played more man. So we'll see if he decides to sit back and just make us have 8 to 10 play drives to beat him, or does he get aggressive and blitz? And if he does do that, Tyquan Thornton, I think, could beat him over the top and get a long bomb and even more so score. So he would definitely be my X Factor, and my game pick is win the game. I don't care how you do it. It's probably going to be my pick the rest of the year. I don't care how these games look. Just find a way to leave with a W.
Fair enough. You guys don't want to give a score prediction, or we stick it with just win the game?
Just win the game.
Win the game.
Win the game.
We ain't even at that point where we can start talking about points and stuff. Just win.
Yeah, I don't blame y'all at all. I do think it's going to be higher scoring. X Factor, I won't say. Brashard Smith, as I mentioned earlier, I think he does need to be involved in this game, in my opinion. I am going to go with Charles Omenihu because I do think that changes the face of the game if he can be effective off the edge. If he gets effective off the edge, I think that you can have George Karlaftis being that steadying hand and the pressure that Chris Jones could put on. That changes the face of what this Chiefs defense can be able to do on the back end to help out their cornerbacks versus George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. And it doesn't force them into bad situations, blitzing Dak Prescott, which he can diagnose. So I'll go with my X Factor is Charles Omenihu on this game, and I do think the Chiefs offense can have themselves a good game. Like y'all said, win the game. Point blank period. Just nothing more complex than that as well. Let's go to the week 12 winners and losers real quick before we get on out of here. Who's your week 12 winner, man, around the National Football League?
Chicago, man.
Bears continue to play. Play very well.
Got a big one on Friday versus the Eagles.
Right.
Bears
Black
looking
Friday
hot.
game. Is it in Philly?
It's in Philly.
Oof, oh man, in Philly. Good Lord. They've got 2 games coming up here, Philly and the Packers. If they win one of those, I would say it'd be impressive for Chicago. But they are 8-3 and at the top of the NFC North. So tip of the cap to Chicago for their winners. I would say the other one that, Niners had themselves a solid win. Obviously, the Rams took care of the business, but ironically, I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys for them being able to keep their very, very slim playoff hopes alive, and they'll be playing with desperation on Thanksgiving from that perspective too. But that comeback versus Philly was impressive with the ways in which they were able to shut down that offense in the second half, and they were able to lead things back, even though it was a little bit turnover driven, but impressive as well for what the Cowboys were able to do in that comeback victory against the Eagles. Who you guys as losers for Week 12?
Pittsburgh Steelers. Had the division in your hand. Lamar Jackson's on the bench for a month, and you still tricked it off. Y'all suck.
Right now, I'd say the Bucks, man. Bucks are
that big injury sucks, man. That sucks, bro.
They got their
and they still
Sunday night.
Who they back up? Teddy?
Teddy Bridgewater.
Kind of rough. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
We're gonna
see.
The
Bucks are drowning. Honestly, only thing that's really working out for them is the Panthers are just as terrible.
Yeah, they just lost on Monday. They give them a little saving grace.
They'll probably still win that division at 10-7 or 9-8 or something. And the NFC South is the NFC South as always.
They all trash.
Absolutely. Anybody we got to lay to rest? I don't think we had anybody, right? No,
do we got anybody to lay to rest?
I don't think so.
Not really. Nothing crazy this week.
Yeah,
Will Campbell got hurt for the Patriots. JJ McCarthy didn't, and he got a concussion.
Boy, my goodness, JJ McCarthy's bad.
Oh, I got one.
Oh shoot, here we go.
Kevin Stefanski, the owner, gave you life.
Bucko.
Yeah, Bucko.
Yeah. He said
you thought you was starting Dylan Gabriel again? Psych. Played that call, said, start your door this week.
You sure? Dylan
moving forward.
He just passed concussion. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care.
You see all them jerseys? You see them jerseys in them stands? We sold out tickets last time. Keep it.
You seen that white kid in the stands?
All right. And I know Kevin Stefanski was so salty, man. Like, gotta restart.
Didn't even want to give my dog a game ball for his first win. That's a real buster move, Kevin. Right. I ain't gonna lie, bro.
Shador, good job. Like, bro, what was that? Like,
man, give him a game ball, bro. Come on. Right. Every note, your first starting quarterback, you always get a game ball, bro. Boy, the clown, bro. This why nobody don't fuck with you. Coach of the year.
But Kevin Stefanski having Lord, hopefully we can lay Dylan Gabriel to rest because I don't need to see any more tape of Dylan Gabriel. With that being said, Underdog Fantasy code Truth $300 deposit match. Obviously, we're gonna have some Thanksgiving specials coming out. Make sure you guys are on top of those. That's gonna be a lot of fun to play as well. Obviously. College basketball is in full swing, NBA in full swing, NHL in full swing, college football rivalry week, always fun to get in as far as the action is concerned. Going to be happening all week, so a lot of fun things going on Underdog. Make sure you guys get over there, use code TRUE3 for $100 deposit match when you sign up. Wings of Things game day box, I think they had a Tuesday special as well.
They got a wing bucket. That thing was lit.
Yeah, wing bucket special as well. That you guys go ahead and check out and make sure you tell them that Kingdom Cast sent you as far as that is concerned. Fellas, anything else before we go ahead and get on out of here, man?
Nah, man, enjoy your holiday, man.
Yes.
Enjoy your families or whatever. Don't cause any ruckus.
Mm-hmm.
No drinking and driving.
Yeah, don't drink and drive. Yes, please. Please,
don't ruin your holiday,
Uber,
anybody else's
whatever,
holiday,
bro.
man. Right, Uber where you got to go.
Don't be that person, please don't.
Everybody be safe. Enjoy time with your family. Be thankful for those that you could be around. Be thankful for the food that you can enjoy. And pray that the Chiefs don't embarrass us on another holiday.
Please win. God, just win the game, bro. Please just win. Just win.
And it should be, and obviously the Chiefs are smack dab in the middle of it. This should be a really fun Thanksgiving of football. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, the nightcap. Obviously, Packers Lions to lead off the day. And we get Chiefs and Cowboys. Hopefully, hopefully with the Chiefs win in the middle of the day. So I appreciate everybody. Thank you guys for coming by. Enjoy your holiday. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. As always, peace out. Go Chiefs.
Cheers.